Hello and welcome to our happy show. This is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by a very happy, you'll see when you see the expression on his face, Mike Jones. Hello, Mike. Are you happy?
Yes.
Mike, I can't see you, bud.
You can't see. Oh, that's because I'm not talking. I had a goofy expression on my face, and I
Oh,
forgot that I have to speak in order for the camera to come to me. So I was doing.
that's great.
Yeah.
A bobblehead, yes.
I'm a bobblehead. Yes.
So I made
Some
kind of
people actually think that.
I made kind of an agreement with myself that I was personally going to try to be very positive about the two positive videos on today's show. Now,
Uh-oh.
honestly, we run two websites. There's somebody in town that thinks we run none, but that's negative. Don't say that, Dale. Okay, so you don't have a website.
See what
Really?
you didn't even last a minute,
No,
Dale.
no, I haven't gotten to the happy positive
You
part.
might as well just go back to your regular negative self.
No, I'm gonna have to. I'm getting there, but I've got to ease into it. You see, so
Oh,
I
okay.
don't have to go cold turkey. All right, so we run two websites. One's called badcounty.com, with which you're familiar. See, proper English and everything. And then we run another one called goodcounty.com. We really do. It's not as popular. There's not as many videos there. Go figure. But
Yes.
yes, we run both of them. And I feel an obligation to try to the community to try, literally try, to get good, positive stories. And we've got two of them at one time for you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And they're about how you can sometimes make change. Things do have this way of working out if you try, and they're going to work out one way or another without you. I mean, just when you think that everything's going bad, then you die, and it's all over for you. That's okay. So
Yes, I can. I'm basking in the positivity here.
yes,
Yes, I'm
what's going to
I'm
happen?
gonna die,
Okay.
and then it'll be all over for me.
That's
Thanks.
right. Hey, then why worry about everything?
So
It's all
far,
has the same end anyway.
I'm ready to go to bed now.
Yes, like they used to tell me when I was a kid, I don't like my food touching each other. I really didn't like some of that. I don't want the beets. I don't want beets anyway, but I don't want the beets touching
Yes. See
the Jello. Don't. Oh, it's all going to the same
that
place
you
anyway.
know that it all ends up in the same place, right?
That's what I was just saying. It all ends in the same place, and when you think about it even further, it all comes out anyway. Never mind. So,
Well, this explains a few things.
oh yeah, great. Thank you very much. Look, one of the things about our first video is when the U.S. Forest Service guy came into the little back room to brief the commissioners. Uh, it was not about the resource management plan. That's bad enough. This is about the transportation management plan. And that's things like 2477 roads. And as I said yesterday, if you don't know what a 2477 road is, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect you. Okay. But if you do know what it is, you should be concerned about it because they just shut down roads saying, well, nobody's using them. We're going to shut them down. Oh, really? And so it's supposed to be based on old maps and stuff. And that's a long story that's not all positive. And I said I was going to try to be positive. So when this guy came in, I thought, well, I'm definitely going to be there for that because who knows what this guy's going to say. And as it turns out, this relatively new forest supervisor that they have in the U.S. Forest Service, had pretty good news to tell. He's actually worked out a deal that seems to have pleased hunters, environmentalists, and off-road vehicle guys. Really? Now,
And they
how's
were
that possible?
all in the room to express their
No,
pleasure with this
no.
plan?
There were only four of us in the room. That would be two commissioners, this guy, and me. What I did as a happy, positive thing is after we put the story out, we're talking about it tonight, but I've already posted it. Then I called this guy Eder, not Edgar, Eder. Okay, go figure.
Is that EDDER?
Well, it should be, but it's EDER. Okay, whatever.
Right.
Happy and positive. So I called him to tell him the story because he didn't come. And he's going to be doing all the county commissioner stuff from now on. And so I called him and I said, watch our show tonight or watch the video that's been posted and maybe you'll be interested in doing a story. And he's like, oh. And I said, look, our purpose in life at this moment is to get the news out to people.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be first. Thank you very much. I'm just that competitive enough. I'm enough of an American to want to be first. But after we got it out there, please tell everybody. Happy to do
Yeah.
so. Okay. So anyway, he said he'd probably go look. So it's a good deal. Okay. So I just want you to know, and this is the last negative thing I'm going to try. I'm going to try to say. The room was dark. They turned out all the lights. Well, they had some dinky presentation the guy was making, and he seemed like a really good guy, but you know, there really wasn't that much to the presentation actually. And then the commissioners were down on one end of the table, and they didn't post their audio. Sometimes their audio is better than ours, sometimes not. So I had to go with our audio, and it was a dark room, and they had the windows, you know, all the blinds up, and so it's shining in your face, plus a dark room. This, you'll see, is the best audio and video that I could come up with, buddy. And actually, it turned out not too bad considering. However, I would like it to be better. Those are the ends of the negative statements. And now this guy's going to tell you about the wonderfulness of the deals that he's worked out with definitely competing interests. Play
Awesome.
that videotape, Mike, and we'll cut in any time to say happy, positive things.
Yes.
So here's some things I want to talk with you about that are a handful of routes and trails that were of great concern. You know, I just want to highlight what I've done with that. The Blue Trail. Over the years, again, it's been used heavily by trail groups, organized trail groups, under a permit. The Father's Day Run is one of those. It's a big deal. Hundreds of people come. They were not able to come this year because we had the fire out at Buckskin. And because of the smoke and because of the fire operations, we had to simply cancel the permit. Trying to figure out when they were able to come back in. But anyway, so lots of concern also about off-road use, getting into pretty unique habitats. People don't stay on the trail. There's a small handful of folks that just don't stay on the trail and are causing issues. So the new purpose that we're going to put in place will be this: is that if I want to, outside of a special use permit, like a Father's Day Run, I want to go drive the Route Trail, I'm going to have a permit to do it. It's not a designated number of permits, it's an entry permit. You have to pay for it, you just have to get it. You have to come to the ranger district to get it. That will allow me and the user groups who are going to help me administer this, begin to figure out who's out there doing these things. They're going to help me police it. They're going to help me monitor it. They're going to help me engineer closures that will work. They're working with us.
So a lot of times the things that I see out there would just be looked at as a challenge.
I know that. I know.
People who want to be like, well, thank you very much.
Exactly. So the user group that uses it during the Father's Day Run, helping me put together what the permit would look like, how we're going to administer closures so that they are useful and they're not just a barrier, not a barrier, but just an obstacle that they want to climb over. Mm-hmm. How they're going to help me take care of any and restore any issues that are going on with the motorized group, the segment of the motorized group that are not staying on the road. And not only these three groups I've met with on site as well as in the office, and the environmental groups, they both agree that this would be a great way to go rather than closing the trail down, which is what some folks wanted me to do, and I said I would not do that. There's a way to get both sides closer, common ground, where their interests are common, and they're just not all about their positions.
So I think the group can almost self-police from the standpoint.
They can.
They know that this is a mistake.
They do.
And if they people mess up. The rules are for everybody.
Yes. And this, the policing thing is going to allow us to have more eyes and ears out there than just Forest Service or county or BLM. That's what we're going to do with the McGrew Trail. Both groups.
McGrew Trail.
So I'll let you know. The McGrew Trail could be one of those RS 2477.
Well, I think your permitting thing sounds kind of like the Siskiyou Crest.
It is.
So you have to have a permit to hike that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to getting it. The point of people doing that is that they have this opportunity for cross-country solitude.
Exactly.
But everybody wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you permitted, 100,000 people, maybe wall-to-wall people all summer long, then that's stupid. Have you done that?
Yeah.
It's only 2,600 miles.
2,600 miles.
I did that. We're doing 50. Right? 50 miles a day.
So again, it's not an allotment.
Yeah.
It's not a certain number. Anybody can do it. But if you're going to do it, you need to come in, you need to get one, you need to sign up. You need to know who you are,
right.
Description of the vehicle that you're going to be using, and then here's your permit for the dates that you say you're going to be there.
Right.
That's how we're going to administer. That's how we're going to try to get a handle on some of the issues that are going on out there right now. So the boundary trail, I mentioned.
Boundary trail.
Trail that crosses back and forth between the old Siskiyou and the old Road River. National Forest, on one side is motorized, on the other side it says non-motorized. This is what we're going to do. So we've identified a portal that we're going to sign, and people are going to be able to motorize and walk in the portal. And when they get to a certain location when they intersect the boundary trail, everything south is non-motorized, everything north is motorized. The north is a loop. Where they go now south is they go down a dead end in the Red Butte Wilderness is where they dead end. Mm-hmm. And then guess what they do? Inside they're going to go into it.
Keep on going.
They're going to keep on going and they make the loop inside the wilderness area. So both groups, user groups, have said this is a great thing. They're going to help you figure out how to sign it, and how to create the kiosks at the trailhead so that people know exactly what they're doing, and a kiosk where they intersect the boundary trail. Everything south, not motorized. Everything north, motorized. Mm-hmm. And we will amend the forest plan. So everything north, doesn't matter if it's on the old road or on the old Siskiyou. We're going to turn it into motorized. Everything south, doesn't matter whether you're on the old road or on the old Siskiyou, it's going to be non-motorized. Okay. That's how we plan to do these kind of things. And I heard that, we got to get the motorized folks on. Oh, are you sure you want to do that? Well, we don't know that. Well, why don't we get these? So we got to together instead of arguing with one another.
Yeah, the crazy thing is you can't keep the motorized people off. If you don't find an alternative for them to do it, they'll just disregard your rule entirely. So find a place for them to go.
Right.
You're making progress.
We are. Same thing for the Silver Peak Hops and Horn. It goes all the way from the Illinois River all the way up to the top and down into Josephine County. It's a very, very long trail.
I have done that.
Have you done that one too? It's very, I figured you probably would have done it. It's very technical. You have to know what you're doing. Well, I know that but I didn't want to go over something. So we've tried to maintain it over the years. It's on very unstable soil. It keeps falling off the hillside. So to start putting good money to bad, we're going to keep the Silver Peak Hops and Horn Trail from the west side, coming up out of the Illinois River up to the peak open. Only open during hunting season, because that's what I heard folks wanted to keep it open. So they ride their motorized pieces of equipment back in there, pretty remote. They hunt. They want to be able to get in there. It's miles and miles and miles of walking to get there. And so that's the That's a compromise. Talk with the hunter groups, OHA, as well as the environmental groups. That's fine. Keeping it open during hunting season. As soon as hunting season is over, we close it. Motorized use. It's only open for that hunting season. Everything up to that is closed. Everything during hunting season is open. Everything after hunting season is closed. And again, OHA and the environmental groups, the wilderness groups, the wild community river groups are going to help with signage, kiosks, information. They're going to help us figure out how to do that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, that is a little bit. It's interesting that they would, yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder how long that'll last.
Now,
Well,
it's going to last forever.
Oh, yes, because it has lasted forever up to now.
Right.
Sure.
Wild and Scenic River Group guys are working together with hunters and off-road vehicle guys. That's good news.
Yeah.
It seems like a really decent guy that, I mean, he's obviously the right guy to sit down with if you're interested in working out some kind of compromise. Okay.
Yeah.
Forest Service, the Forest Service.
I'd be interested to know what other people think of this, because I see three people. I see the Forest Service guy, and who knows if he's acting in the best interests of everybody involved. And I see Simon Hare and I see Keith Heck. I don't see representatives of these other people saying, yeah, but, or, hey, oh, wait a minute, those people, we don't want them even alive, much less on that property.
I know that there are people like that. And I can say, as far as the folks that were in this meeting, this was one of the perfect examples. Elsewhere in the meeting, it's too long to play the whole thing, where Keith Eck was completely lost. He didn't know what they were talking about. And he actually said he was glad that Simon was there, because Simon had a better idea of what's going on. And Simon isn't always right on what he does, but he's got an encyclopedic knowledge of some of this kind of stuff. He truly is there for some of these details. See how positive I'm being?
Yes.
And I felt that this guy was doing a real good job of presenting his plan. And apparently he's gotten people that would normally be at each other's throats sitting down and deciding to cooperate together.
Well, it sounds good. I've always, on a personal level, been intrigued by the idea of making that Pacific Crest Trail trip there. I mean, that would be, that's a long hike.
That's a long hike.
Yes. But I mean, you would certainly encounter. Here's the problem. I love hiking, because I can just start going, and then I can just keep on going. I can go for all day long, but I don't like camping. I really don't like not sleeping in a bed. And if you're hiking that trail, you're going to do a lot of not sleeping in beds, or not on flat ground, or not on dry ground, or in a sleeping bag that's got no padding under it or something like that. And that's just not for me. I mean, some people really dig that.
Rich people that go skiing, they sometimes jump from a helicopter. You've seen the video.
Sure.
And they don't need to worry about camping on the mountaintop unless they break their leg. So maybe what you ought to do is arrange to have, when you're tired, have a helicopter come and pick you up, bud. And
sure,
take you to the camp.
I'll arrange for that with my, let me see, where's my wallet at? Oh, yes.
Yes.
And then there's an interesting thing, because this friend of mine who is involved in all this, they're really big. They all meet together in groups and go what they call glamping, GLA, glamping, and that's where they bring mobile homes and camping trailers.
Oh,
that are
Gay
all
Lesbian Alliance, I get it. Okay,
Yes.
glamping.
Yes, glamping. And it's, I mean, it's very comfortable camping. They still do all the cooking outdoors and have the campfire and go fishing and all this kind of stuff, but they're living in it's comfortable. Let's just say that.
That's nice. Well, okay, if it makes you happy, good. Okay, now, it does not necessarily true that you'd have to go the whole Pacific Crest thing by walking. you could potentially ride a mountain bike. Mountain bikes are, I don't know about the Pacific Crest Trail, but
Yeah, I don't
mountain
think you
bikes
can
are
do the whole thing.
made for such things. Now, and we've got people who ride bicycles, not just around town, but also they race them and that kind of thing here in Grants Pass out on Redwood Avenue. And some of you have heard, it's a strange name. BMX is a little weird because it's bicycle motocross, but if it's bicycles, it's not really motocross, is it? That's okay. Okay. So anyway, there was some controversy about whether or not they would be allowed to continue for two reasons. One is they were doing it indoors during the last couple of years at the fairgrounds, on the fairgrounds in a building indoors, and doing it outdoors on a track, which is going to be affected by ODOT's plans to put some kind of big road through that area. We've talked about a little on the show. Now you get a chance to actually see the fairgrounds meeting. We're going to play about as much of it as we feel like playing. Woo-hoo, it's our show. And we may stop it occasionally and talk, but I wanted you to see this because I was so impressed. There's been so much controversy, especially on Facebook, by people interested in seeing the kids especially get a chance to race their bicycles. And they just, I mean, they brought out their flamethrowers, but I mean, they were so angry about everything. You're throwing us out. Nobody cares about the kids and stuff. And Mary Groves, who I consider to be a pretty decent person at the fairgrounds, said, that's not the reason behind this. Now, she's going to explain the reason. Watch, I'm especially impressed by the fact that the guys who showed up from this to also share some of their concerns, they ended up saying, you know, I kind of understand why you're doing this. I do the same thing because of the economics. Really, it's another positive story about how things can work out. And here is the meeting of the Fair Board from last week where they're talking about BMX bicycle racing. Mike?
The open arena, the fully open arena.
Whoops.
Okay, so now I'm going to talk about all the things that happen to BMX. And you all have some of these handouts, and I will hand out, you might have to just pass out, and you might have to share.
This is our audio again, best I could do.
I actually took a whole,
Sounds fine to me.
did a whole spreadsheet on what's happened with BMX from the 2012-13 season. We'll do indoor first, and then we'll talk about outdoor. We'll talk about the reasons why that we have to make the decision not to continue to do indoor at this point. Right now, and Mike just paid the damage to the doors, which was $1,848 plus $180 that we had to get to bring the doors down. So at this present moment, we are upside down in that track, $12,197 from the 2012-13 season to now. So in the 3 seasons that we've had the indoor, people don't realize what we have to pay in utilities. And I know people say that can't be right, but it is right. We have, of course, a power bill, and I'll explain that in a minute. The first thing that comes off of that water meter out there is it has a system, a pressurized sprinkler system in it. You get a bill every month for $209. It has no water. We get that from the city, so there's our start. Plus, we get another water bill for whatever's been used in the building itself. So we get it about $250 right there. Then we go to the power bill. What happens with the power bill?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
How come they're not tapped into the irrigation district?
It would take it would take a long answer, but the basic idea behind this is that the fairgrounds has very strange conglomerations of plans. For example, if they want to know how much electricity is used in one building, they can only find out from averaging 2 buildings because they don't break up the bills. Okay. That's one strange thing. But there's all these strange kind of agreements that have come over, and part of it is because even the utility companies are trying to do something for the community for these guys, and they're not putting them on the top tier of service because they're giving them a cut rate on many things. And so
it's just weird because I'm very near to that area, and I have an irrigation canal going very close by to my building, and I pay a yearly fee, and I can irrigate as much as I want out of that. It doesn't cost any more to do that. And I would think the proximity is not that far. They could, pop them a line over for that purpose. That's the only thing I was wondering.
The best answer I can give you is because it's a hodgepodge of things that have been accumulated over a period of years. Don't forget now they're talking about the indoor of BMX racing here. Go ahead.
Gotcha.
There are 3 buildings on that power bill. The open arena, the totally open arena is locked off. So we know what power goes through there, very little. So the lights are locked. On the BMX, what was the BMX and the covered arena? The covered arena was changed to T8 lights several years ago. And the BMX building still has the old 400, the old ballast, the 400 watt lighting in it. So, and that lighting was on a lot. It wasn't just on when the kids were there, it was there when the track managers were there and the track operators. So what we do, and we also have to keep the restrooms open, and they are heated restrooms, and we have to keep them heated all winter so they don't freeze. So we split the power bill right down the middle between the 2 buildings. So everybody uses, and this doesn't include the restroom supplies, the person to clean the restrooms, doesn't include any of that. What this does also include was we had to get a dumpster out there, $28.54 every week. Those add up over a month time. So when you start adding up all of the utilities, people don't realize how much it really costs us to run that building. So that's one of the main reasons that we just can't afford to keep doing that anymore. So my board's familiar with this. My commissioners are familiar with this. We just have to make the decision not to run the indoor. And you guys are paying $500 a month. There's no question about that. The rent came in, but it doesn't cover the utilities. It just doesn't cover our costs into that building. Just a minute, let me explain the whole thing and then I'll come back next. The other thing that we have out here is there's no parking for that building. So we have an issue with parking. So when we have, and like this year, we have 9 horse shows already planned and 2 more, we're calling in today for 2 more different horse shows. So they have parking in this area. There's also, they use this arena as well. So we have horses all around here and they park down this midways too. So we have a parking issue with that building to start with. So when we really started putting everything together and I started putting the whole thing together in a spreadsheet, we're coming out upside down. And you'll see that we originally put in 37 loads of granite. Actually, we put in 40 loads of granite because Roy Burns put in 3 loads of granite at $60 a piece, and then they shut him down. So that was where we were supposed to get 40 loads of granite at $60 a piece. Well, that didn't happen. So I had to go to Munical. We got the other 37 loads at $115 a piece.
Holy
Plus, we paid for the Bobcat, $680 to spread that granite around. So none of those costs have actually come back to us. So I just don't know how to explain to you the things. And then the next year, we actually put in another 10 yards of granite with that from Roy Burns. He was able to get back on there, $60. So we put in another $600 in granite. Plus we supplied the fuel that was going into our loader that everybody was using to maneuver this stuff around. We didn't buy the little skid steer because I think we got one donated the second year. So, and let me answer your question now.
You can't just take all that rock for granted.
Well, first thing,
I'm sorry,
your name.
my name's Ed Strack.
What was that?
You can't just take all that rock for granted,
Yes.
Sorry.
I just want to know that guy's name because I want to pay $60 a load for
yeah.
here. So, okay.
I am the president of River City BMX. I agree. I mean, what you're doing is, that's what I do. That's a great business decision. I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't around for the first 2 years, but looking through the report, the question I have is I see how much the fire suppression system costs you,
It started out less.
At
but it costs us now
$209.86.
$209.86 a month.
but I have a water bill on here for water that we never had available to us in that building all last
It
winter.
doesn't matter. They charge us for a standard rate on that bill. It doesn't matter. So we don't have a choice with the city. They have a minimum bill that they send us. So it's like, okay, you guys don't even know about that.
No, and see, that's the thing, I mean, this is, I
That's
mean,
why I did the
this
spreadsheet.
is a wonderful
Exactly
eye
why I
opener
did
right
the
here, of
spreadsheet.
how much, costs and everything that you guys put out for us.
So we have a 15,000 square foot building out there that was renting for $500 a month, basically. So,
Wow.
and people, and I know there was a lot of things on Facebook, pros and cons. I just wanted you guys to vent, which you did, in a lot of crazy ways, but you should learn that if you put it on Facebook, you can't get it
That's
back.
Facebook, baby.
Anyway, we can actually put, if I only put 20 RVs in there, they pay $75 a month, paid in advance for 6 months, $350 a piece. So I can put 20 RVs in there, bring in $1,500 in the month, and actually it'll hold 40 RVs or 50. It's a big building, it's 15,000 square feet. Paper came out wrong, it's not just 5,000 square feet. But, that's, if I can get 40, and they're already lining up.
And honestly, like I said, that's good business, that's what I would do too.
It's a business decision that we have to make. We don't get county funds. I mean,
Correct.
Mr. Heck has told me that you better make it happen. So, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, no, I.
But I wanted you guys to know, that's why I made the spreadsheets out, so you can see what we really are looking at.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and that's like, I agreed with you last year. I'm James Martin, I'm the vice president. And like the discussion we had last year of the first 2 years, and that I told you it would be different this year. You guys didn't have to supply any fuel, any dirt, anything. And we upheld that end of it, but I see the same as he's seeing.
It's
In
still-
the end,
it's still going
in the end, it's a business
And
deal. You
originally, is
understand that?
Jeff here?
And
You are. I was thinking you were a different guy. You're the guy I worked with. In the original thing that was set out, it was meant to be a 5-year kind of
it was
a
5-year
thing,
plan, yes, ma'am.
but it was meant to pay back what the fairgrounds was going in the hole instead of what happened. So, do I want to shut down BMX? No.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she wants to shut them down.
No, that's
How-
probably,
How dare they subsidize BMX and then cut it off? That's wrong.
that's probably all that we have time for that video. But we posted the entire video so that you can see it for yourself. And we've done the same thing with the one with the Forest Service guy, so that you can see that for yourself. But we wanted to show you that even though, there was a lot of controversy on Facebook about this, they ended up saying, the BMX operator said, we went to a meeting and people were still upset, and we just advised them, don't go on Facebook.
Yes.
Just stay away from that.
Yeah.
This is why we monitor Facebook, and we've actually convinced the courier to start monitoring Facebook too.
Yeah, and another good idea, typically speaking, I don't always hold firm to this, but I do always hold firm to, I don't get into lengthy arguments on Facebook.
Yeah.
I will go, a couple rounds with somebody, but then I'm out of there because, you can go on and on forever and you're never going to change the other person's mind.
Never.
So you may feel good because the argument that you made sounded very logical to you,
and probably to everybody else except for that person.
right? Exactly. So that's one of those things about Facebook. However, I think it's a good a way of seeing what the temperature is in the community.
Yeah.
There.
It's
So,
it's at least a barometer. Well, there
Yes.
was this old story, apparently true, from the Catholic Church, where they had this like month-long gathering where they were debating about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, right? And so they came up with a specific answer. But we've got people on Facebook that will continue arguing about what color are those angels. Oh man,
Yeah.
it never ends.
Never, never, ever. So yeah, not a good idea. Although, you know what? Listen, if you want to get instantaneous news, albeit not very accurate,
Yes.
it'll be, you know, the first impression of the news. You can get that on Facebook, and you can certainly know how everybody feels about it.
Right. And what is it? See, when we put out the news every night, and about half of what we do, about half, is based on videos that are, let's say, the commissioners talking, and we'll also post those without our comments. So we comment about the news, and one reason we do so is because there's no analysis. Nobody's doing any analysis anywhere. At least we're doing some analysis of it, and then we're playing it back for you to see, like this. We mostly let them do the talking. But we turn it around the same day many times. With the Courier, you'll be talking about, this is the end of all positives, okay? The end of being nothing but positive. You can tell because of the thing over my shoulder. What is it that it says?
Yes, things have a way of working out.
No, that's not what it says.
It doesn't?
No, what does it say?
Oh, walk ring. Yes.
Did anybody notice?
Well, and it's because your brain says, well, I know what that says. By the time you get to the last couple of words, you've already figured it out.
So I just couldn't help myself. I can't be nothing but positive all the time. Come on. Okay. So anyway.
See, that Dale Matthews is a deceiver.
That's right. That's what I am. The Courier will come out. Now it's most of the time about a week behind us, and I call and sometimes talk with their new reporters, and they're a couple of days behind us, partly because I've told them, because we want the news to get out. It's not a matter, it is a little matter of competition, but it's not a matter of money. We'll just want the news to get out. Well, that's a little bit better than their typical, which has been, until just very recently, about a month behind us. Okay, and the TV stations, they often don't don't do anything until the Courier does it. And the Medford Mail Tribune, I called their guy that typically covers, at least used to cover stuff in Josephine County, and he just told me flat out, he said, if it's not in the Courier, we're not going to cover it. Really? So now, and you're not going to get it on KJO. So now, where are you going to hear the news? And so I had a point in there someplace. What we're trying to do is bring you things that are happening in this area so that you can make up your own mind based on long video segments if you just look at the stuff that's posted, and some of it based on some of the insight that we bring, because, you know, I've been doing this for over a decade, and some of the background behind it. And so, yeah, occasionally what we say or we put out there, the headlines, are a bit tart, but it does get some attention, and people seem to like it. We're a pretty popular show as far as these shows go. We're a runaway success.
Yeah.
And Mike always has something smart to say about everything. And so that's what we try to bring you with these nightly. It's not a blog. It's an odd thing. It's an internet television news show. Internet television, because we can't afford to buy a TV station. Well, you got to be kidding me. And anyone's going to sink that kind of money into something. Even studios.
They're going to expect to make some money.
Even studios are like from the dinosaur days. Why do you need a studio?
Yeah, well, I mean, you do need some place to be that your video signal is going to emanate from. It just so happens that we're lucky enough to be able to do this from the privacy of our own homes. Right. And
well, this is my editing studio, but when we did the election coverage, we were emanating from a cell phone.
Yeah, which was very cool.
It was very cool. And we did that from the Ann Basker emanating from a cell phone. So we can do that kind of, so you don't need all that heavy metal. It's not necessary. And it's sure not necessary to have something as old fashioned as a newspaper. You're printing on paper. What are you doing? Okay. I know there's plenty of people who like that better, but you're going to get just as much from us as you would, talking with your neighbor over the fence or whatever that analogy is. And so we try to bring that to you. So if you're interested in politics, well, maybe you're not. Okay, I don't know why you're watching this show, but if you're interested in politics, this is the place to be. And we've got, as I mentioned a couple of nights ago, we have a list of well over 200 opinion leaders in our areas. That they get everything that we do. It goes immediately to them. You can subscribe. There's no cost. And we try to get the information out there. And then we try to talk with both sides if we can get both sides. And here you heard the fairgrounds people talking with the people who had given them a lot of guff about it, and they're working things out. So things they can be positive. We'll go back to our typical negative views about things tomorrow. Okay, but it's okay every once in a while to admit that there are very good things happening in the community, because there are some very good people who are trying hard to see if they can come up with compromise solutions. It's there. It happens. Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I'm glad to see it. It's about time.